So we're doing this. I don't know why I feel extra nervous about this today because I have told my coming out story over and over and over and over again. But for some reason right now I'm feeling very emotional about it. Maybe it's because there's been so much hate towards the LGBTQ community, especially the T and the B, really. It's crazy, right? But I promised that I would come on live and share my coming out story, which is very multifaceted. And I'm going to do that. So I'm going to give it just a second and let folks join us. But first of all, I just want to give all my love to everybody who is out, coming out, or even those of you, especially maybe those of you who are not ready yet to come out. That's okay. This is your journey, and it's important that you do it your way, that you love and honor yourself. I didn't come out. Hold on a second. I didn't come out until I was 38. And a lot of people think that's crazy. And I always joke that maybe it's because I didn't meet the lesbians in college. I didn't know where the lesbians were in college. That could have changed my entire trajectory. But I didn't know. I truly didn't know. And there were a lot of glaring signs now that I look back at all of it, like, oh, I probably should have figured that out. But I really didn't. I didn't know lesbians growing up. I knew gay men, but I didn't know gay women. And I was so societally conditioned to follow the heteronormative path, to check all those boxes, that it didn't even occur to me to question my choices and what I was doing. Now, my life now is all about questioning everything, my choices, other people, why I'm doing what I'm doing, being very intentional about everything. But this has come as a result of my coming out experience. So coming out wasn't an easy thing for me. And I hope that it's a much easier thing for many children now, but I know that it's not everywhere, or young people or old people or whomever you are. I know that it's not an easy thing everywhere. I know in my family, coming out is not required. Just tell us who you're interested in and we will love and support you. It's not a big deal. I think on some level, all four of my children identify somewhere in the LGBTQIA plus range, and I remind them that might shift too, right? How you identify can shift and change, and that's okay. You don't have to be in a box. It doesn't have to be binary. There's a lot of space, right? There's a lot of space to be you and to discover yourself and just know things. I remember when one of my nieces was coming out, and at the time they were 14, and my mom said, "How do you even know what you are at 14?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, Mom. How did you know you were straight at 14? And to my mom's credit, she goes, "Oh, well, I guess that's a good point." Right? Okay. So I don't know how many of you are here, and I don't know how many of you are going to hang out. And I don't really know how many of you care at all about my coming out story, but we're going to start with a young girl who never realized that the way she internalized her feelings towards women she was attracted to, I didn't realize that was different than other women, than straight women, because women are so lovey-dovey with one another. They're so complimentary. Oh my God, you're so hot. You're so sexy. Oh, babe, look at you, right? That felt different to me inside my body physiologically than it does to straight women. But I didn't know that because we didn't talk about those kinds of things, right? I remember back when Britney Spears was newly popular, and she was definitely too young for me, so don't come at me for that. I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of her, right? And I think I even said that. I know that I said that at one point to my then boyfriend, who became my husband and is now my ex-husband. And he was like, yeah, cool, I love that, right? just didn't know. We just didn't know. Hey, Dana, thanks for joining. So there was this underlying something bubbling. And it wasn't until I was in my late 30s that it became very clear to me, very clear, that what I was feeling was not what a normal straight girl would feel. And as I became more and more aware of all of this, I became smaller and smaller in my life. I had this beautiful, picture perfect American family life, beautiful, healthy children, a kind spouse, plenty of money, a big, beautiful home. We were healthy. Let's see. Let's invite some folks. Let's do some inviting. See if anybody's around, if anybody wants to join. I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to invite people because why not, right? Send out those invitations. Okay. The more it became crystal clear to me that eventually that I had married the wrong gender and that I was not living any sort of long-term viable life, but I thought I was stuck. I thought I'd made my bed and it was time to sleep in it and I didn't really have any choices. So I continued to feel smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until I felt like the least important, non-existent person on the planet. I didn't like myself. I didn't like my life. It was hard to go through the motions anymore. And I couldn't take it anymore. And I started very slowly coming out to people that I trusted immensely, to most of their shock and awe. I remember very specifically going into one of my friends' houses and like shaking and saying, I'm gay. At the time I went with bi, and I'm not doing any bi erasure here at all because bi is real. 100%, I'm just not bi. But I was like, hi, I'm your bi friend Heather. And to my surprise, she said, hi, I'm your bi friend. And I'm not going to say her name right now because I don't have her permission to tell her story. So that part was easy. But then I came out to a lesbian couple, like almost a mentor friend of mine. And they were straight shocked, like straight shocked about it. And the next day, one of them, who is a dear, 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 special, wonderful friend of mine, said, okay, I've adjusted. I have questions. Would it be okay to ask them? And we started really talking, and they became such a wonderful support system. I can remember at one point, one of the spouses going, so Heather, how do you plan to meet women? This was after I had decided that I needed to get out of my marriage. And I was like, I don't know, because I've never online dated. I've still never online dated. I never needed to online date. And I don't know if I would, if I wouldn't. No shade, no shame, no blame. I don't know. I don't want to be online much as it is, even though I'm online right now with you. And I started very slowly coming out to people that I trusted. And I was able, how can I describe this? Like every time I would share my story, I would feel like I could take just a little bit more of a full deep breath until eventually I could breathe all the way in and fill my lungs and then exhale. And I didn't even know that I wasn't able to breathe before. That's the thing about self-awareness and reflection, right? Is that until you're paying attention, you don't even know. You're not even aware of how you are harming yourself and your life and your trajectory. Reassessment, reframing, resilience, it's important. Checking in with yourself, being honest with yourself, being intentional about those things, they require work. And it's scary because we're not always sure we want to know what we're going to find when we check in with ourselves. But I didn't even know I couldn't breathe until I started breathing. And I'm like, oh, that's what this feels like. And And then fast forward to the time where I accidentally outed myself on Facebook. Oh, that was fun. That was really fun. It was not fun. It was not fun. It had a particularly challenging experience. I had been spending some time with my mother, who I love and I'm very close to, and everything's good. So we'll go there. She's amazing. But I was just miserable in my marriage and in my life. Every part of my life was miserable. And at one point she just cornered me and said, why are you so unhappy? You have everything. Why are you so unhappy? And I just said, well, Mom, because I'm a lesbian. That's why. And to say it didn't go well would be a bit of an understatement, because it did not go well at all. And later that weekend, I responded to, I read a blog post about why you shouldn't be afraid to come out. And I noticed that the author was engaging with people in the comments. And I needed somebody to be for me and to want to support me and care for me so badly that I responded. And when I responded, I said everything. I gave my name and my age and my career and the ages of my kids and like everything. And I did not know that that blog post was connected to my Facebook account. So I figured it out and I took it off of my page, but I didn't know that it still showed up on everybody's feed because I didn't take the comment down from the blog. But I didn't know that, and I went to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, my then husband, who we were living together but separately at the time, and really then we had a very, very healthy, strong relationship. He was incredibly kind and supportive. He came into my room and he kind of gently shook me and he said, "Hey, did you mean to do this?" No, I did not mean to do that. And I had turned my phone off overnight. I used to do that. We don't do that anymore, do we? I should go back to turning my fucking phone off at night. Anyway, distraction. I turned my phone on and the notifications were like exploding. Oh my God, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Everything was love, 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 love. So much love. But also I was panicked because my family members were on Facebook. Many of them incredibly conservative, and I was not ready to have this conversation with them, but here we were. Ripping off the Band-Aid was a bit of an understatement, you know? What I'm trying to say here, it was an understatement. We just jumped right in. We just jumped all the way fucking in, all of it. And fortunately for me, my dad, who kind of a born again Christian, he had an opportunity to chat with my cousin, and she was amazing and really helpful. And she said to him, "You don't have to understand. You just have to love her." So by the time I spoke with my dad, and I think that my dad thought I was going to harm myself. I think he was really worried because I went in quickly and like deactivated all of my family members in my Facebook. But it was too late. They knew. And so I was not at a position where I was going to harm myself over it, to be clear, but I think a lot of people could be in that position. And I called and he said, "I don't understand. And my religion tells me that it's not okay, but I love you. You're mine. And we'll figure this out." And he has been very supportive ever since. My aunt, who is a super, super Catholic, and we disagree on everything politically, everything, has always loved me and loved and welcomed my partner. And I don't, what more can I ask for? My mother was like terrified that my grandmother, who's been passed now for a number of years, but was going to freak out. And she, first of all, said, "You have to tell me yourself. Like, I'm not hearing shit from your mom. You got to tell me." So I called her and she said, "Well, you're my baby and I love you." I mean, like, my family was amazing. They were all really amazing. And I couldn't have predicted that. And eventually my mother saw that. And what I think it boiled down to with my mom it being so icky at first was, as a parent, your worst fear is that someone will harm your child. And so, yes, part of it for her was self-preservation. I don't think she didn't want to be judged. She didn't want to do that. But mostly she was afraid they were going to hurt me. And when she saw that they did not hurt me, she went, oh, maybe I'm the one that's wrong. And she apologized, and we worked our way through it. And it took a while, but it was worth it. And we're closer now than ever. And she would say that my coming out was the number one game-changing thing in her life, because she realized she didn't have to be who everybody else wanted her to be good enough, to be accepted and to be worthy, because I showed her that, right? And then when it came time to get a divorce, that was the message I wanted to model for my kids. And I've often said, I had to do it for my kids. And my kids are like, you didn't do it for us. You did it for you. And they're right. I did it for me. I had to do it for me. But also, they needed me to do it so that I could be the best parent for them possible, so that I could be the best human for them possible, and show them how to chase their own dreams and their own realities, and to stand up into the world and take up space. And for God's sakes, breathe fully. Breathe into who you are. Coming out never stops. My current partner said that to me when we first started chatting. When I actually outed myself on Facebook, she publicly congratulated me, and I was like, can you take that post down? But we started chatting. It's actually how we ended up in relationship together, is she reached out a hand to be supportive in that moment. And we fell for each other in that time. And she said, coming out never stops. And she's right. We have to come out all the time. Every time I meet a new person, I have to decide, am I going to talk about my same-sex partner? I just put myself out there, but sometimes you have to be careful and aware. Is this space, is it a safe space? I'm a professional keynote speaker. And there are some times when I am on a stage and I'm like, I don't know that I feel safe walking off this stage if I choose to come out while I'm on it, right? Most of the time I vet those things up front, and then I don't say yes to those situations. But you never know when you're buying a car or a house, when you're applying for a job, or when you're filling out a form and they want to know your spouse's name and they assume an opposite gender. It's everywhere. Coming out never stops. And so, we have to really want to pick ourselves to be out. And I know that so many people are afraid to come out, and I want you to know that's okay. I mean, it's not okay that you're afraid, but this is your journey, and you get to do it on your own time and in your own way. And if you need a friend, I'm here. You can reach out anytime. I feel like every time I share my story, some woman somewhere says, I think that might be me, or that was me, and now I'm struggling, because it was hard after I came out. It was hard after I got my divorce. So hard, but even the worst days were better than the best days before, and it is worth it. You are worth it. Everybody is worth being your most honest and authentic self. So I'm going to take my emotional ass on out of here now. Thank you so much to those of you who showed up. I appreciate you. I see some of my book pals from the TikTok book club loving on me and showing support and all of that. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And I'm going to go live again on a different platform, because I promised that I would. It doesn't get easier. It's easy for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm gay, I have a female partner. That's not a problem. But telling the story, revisiting the journey, is so emotional. It's such an emotional experience. So let's all just take a big deep breath. I love you. I see you. You are worthy. You are wonderful. You are brave and beautiful and brilliant. And if people don't tell you that enough, then come and hang out with me, because I will tell you all the time, because you deserve it. All right? Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon.